Hey there, Leo. Welcome to your reading for the week of September 8th or whatever it is. I don't know. It's in the title. But you have this card. It says conclusions are within reach. You have this step out of your comfort zone as well, which I do think it is. I mean, I think Leo is being asked to step outside of a comfort zone. You've been being asked to do this for many years. So I don't know. It's just like very obvious astrology to me for you, Leo, is what I would say, that card right there. But I do think it would be a good thing for you to do, obviously. It will probably lead to a lot. And here you go, right here. It'll probably lead to a lot of growth and probably getting things that you want. Now, it's going to take time, so I do think it's important that Leo doesn't give up on things that they're trying to get to grow at this time. You can't just invest 2 hours into a project and then expect to make $1 million, for example, overnight, and then when it doesn't work, give up. So, again, it's like things are going to require a certain amount of effort, but I do feel that you could be making a lot of progress. So, we'll say that for sure. But let's see here. You start here with the Five of Swords, the Devil, and the High Priestess. This is showing up in the area of your current general energies for the week. It kind of makes sense. The Devil has shown up quite a bit since July, and a lot of people this week have been getting the Devil as well. But, we have the eclipse on the 7th. Actually, today is September 4th, so on Sunday, the 7th, Sunday is definitely the 7th, when we have the Pisces eclipse, I think a lot of people, we could just be being asked to release things that are toxic or no longer serve us. We also have an eclipse on the 21st in Virgo, which definitely would be good for releasing anything toxic. Now, toxic doesn't have to mean toxic. I think the word toxic, because there's so much drama nowadays, I think people take it, too seriously. It's like it could just be as simple as something that steals a little bit of your time. Any energy vampires in your life, which don't even have to be people. We can do things that steal our energy, right? So, anything that steals your energy, those would be the things that I would be separating myself away from if I were you, and I will be. I mean, I think everybody should do this, like I said, with the eclipses. So anything that pops up for you would be good to eliminate. Again, you have the Devil like everybody else. Again, I don't know. I can't remember this week how many people had the Devil, but it was a lot. Almost everybody. And so it just seems to be one of those weeks where we are being asked to cut things out that no longer serve us. It's kind of funny because I have the word automatic popping into my head, but intuitively, I feel that some of you, this is automatic. You are just, you might literally notice that something just leaves your life, right? Automatically. You don't have to do anything for it. And, but I would say it's probably a good thing that happens or is going to happen for you automatically. So some of you, there's nothing to worry about, right? For others, you have this Scorpio card in your next row, right? And it says the underworld. It says, awaken your inner witch to maximize your potential to connect to the universal energies. I think it's asking you to go a little bit deeper, in the energy of what is holding you back from having what you want. It's anything that you don't have that you want in life, whatever it is. I feel this plus that Scorpio card, which we'll cover that more in a second. I think it's asking you to go deep. Why don't you have it yet? Something that you want, because you probably could have it much sooner. Whether it's money, love, business, spirituality, health, whatever, you could probably have it a lot faster. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but again, I think if you go deep and you really examine why you don't have it, then you might discover some answers. It seems to be, that's the other thing that is kind of surprising to me with this set of readings. Basically, for the week of the 8th, which is a day after the eclipse. But again, we can feel eclipse energy for a while, before and after the eclipses, right? So we're going to be dealing with the energy for a while. And it just seems to me like people could really be asking those questions and getting answers. Other people this week have had messages about getting answers, and here you go. You have the High Priestess getting answers, right? She needs to peek behind the curtain. She needs to see how the sausage is made, as I always say. She's got this curtain behind her, this tapestry, right? The High Priestess represents mysteries, intuition, all blah, 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 all that other stuff, right? But I think if we go deep here and we get to the bottom of it, the High Priestess really represents, again, in peeking behind the curtain, seeing the things that we don't necessarily want to see, but that we should. It's kind of like admitting to yourself that, the things like, let me give you a good example, so I stop babbling here, Leo. But it's like, if you want love, for example, it's like we all want love to be some sort of fairy tale, but usually there are some like truths in love that we have to admit. Like, we have to do things to keep the romance alive. We have to put the work in. We have to find a person who's willing to put the work in. We have to communicate. Like, there are unsexy parts of relationships, right? And the High Priestess is like, well, if you want something, you have to take the good with bad. Not necessarily that I think relationships are bad, but you know what I'm saying? It's like you have to take both sides. And you have to be neutral about it. She is neutral, just like the Justice card. She's sitting between these two pillars, and those two pillars can represent the dark and light. She kind of looks at things from both perspectives, but she's willing to take both to get something she wants. And I don't know why that's popping into my head for you, but it is. So it's like there's something you have to realize this month or this week, or it could be this month as well. With the Five of Swords, you have the Nine of Wands. Yeah, like definitely don't give up on something here, Leo. I feel if you've been working on something that hasn't been working, again, it's crazy that the Nine of Wands comes up, because this is the card of the Wounded Warrior. But I literally said to you at the beginning of your reading, do not give up. You can't just give something like a day and be disappointed when it doesn't work. It's like, I think something is going to take a little bit longer. It's funny because, I'm not picking on anyone here, right? And, I call people out in my YouTube group anyway, but I have several tarot readers in my YouTube group, and they'll be like, I've had my channel for 10 months and, I'm not growing like you. And I'm like, yeah. It's like, it took me, my channel, I was stuck at 40,000 subscribers for 4 years, over 4 years. It takes time. And yeah, I know people don't want to hear that, but at the same time, it's worth it. I can tell you that the years I spent on this channel are totally worth it now, and if they were then, even if I was still at 40,000, I would still be doing this, right? So, that's what I'll say there. But again, again, I think it's worth it. And that's what I want to say to you, Leo. It's like something will be worth it, or is right now. With the Devil, you have the Page of Swords. Page of Swords is a card. We talked about going deep. Page of Swords is my card of curiosity. I was definitely getting that message off that Scorpio card, really, but also the High Priestess in your reading as well. We have to follow our curiosity. If something captures our attention, we have to dig into it, right? And that is the Page of Swords. We have to really dig into things. With the High Priestess, you have the Nine of Cups. Yes, this will lead to fulfillment. I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but it's like sometimes I also think what I think a reading like this is trying to say is that when you find something where you are willing to take the good with the bad, and again, we're not talking about bad, really. We're talking about, the stuff that, is not sexy, right, in something. When you find something where that doesn't bother you, then maybe that's the thing for you. And I'm not just talking about love here. It's like, maybe you need a job. It's like, maybe there's a job out there where it's like, yeah, there's some things that you won't want to do necessarily, but when you find the thing where you don't mind doing those things, then that is like a fulfilling venture, right? It's like, there are parts of YouTube that I don't necessarily enjoy, but again, it's like the reason I've stuck with this for so long is because I want to do it. And I'm willing to put up with those things that I don't necessarily absolutely love about YouTube, right? I'm not a big fan of when things just change, and YouTube changes every 2 freaking seconds, right? So I'm always having to learn and upgrade and update and try new experiments and things like that. And it's just nonstop. So, it's like there are those things that I don't love, but this is the only thing I've ever done in my life where, not completely true, but, one of the only things that I've been willing to kind of take the good with the bad and be perfectly fulfilled with it, right? And I feel like maybe that's what this reading is encouraging you to find, Leo, is something where, it's like you're willing to do both sides. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, can't make this up. You have this Day and Night card. It says there's current disharmony due to existing differences in some matter. But again, it's funny that we've been talking about both sides, day, night, that whole thing. You have this Underworld card. It's the Scorpio card. It says awaken your inner witch to maximize your potential to connect with universal energies. Yes, I feel that a lot of you learning, educating yourself, digging into things, being curious, asking questions, doing research, being a nerd. All that is what I would be doing here, Leo. You have the Eight of Swords, the Two of Pentacles, and Seven of Wands. Yeah, Eight of Swords says you have to set yourself free. You always literally get the Eight of Swords with me. I've been doing readings on this channel for over 10 years. You can go to my the video tab on my channel, go separate by oldest, go to the oldest videos, go to your video. You have the Eight of Spades. I used to read playing cards when I started this channel. And so, I think for a lot of you, it's like this has been a long time coming. You've had to separate yourself away from something, or you have to set yourself free from something, and it's like some sort of prison. I'm wondering if you have to get an answer. One thing I've noticed about this week in particular, energetically, is it seems like it's a week to get answers on anything that you want an answer on, right? So I think it's time to get an answer on something. You have the Two of Pentacles. Yeah, work hard, play hard. I think everybody needs to do this as well. All the readings basically say that people need to balance their energy and need to make sure that they are doing that. So you need to make sure that you're not like burning yourself out, getting sick or injured, all that other good stuff. Two of Pentacles really wants us to look at things from both sides and do things from both sides. I also do feel pretty good about money with this Two of Pentacles. I don't think this is something that's necessarily going to happen overnight here, Leo, but whatever you're working on, we go up to that Six of Pentacles, and it's like maybe some of you right now are having to juggle like multiple things to make money, but I feel that will be changing in the near future. So it's like if you're like thinking about working on a business, or if you're working on getting a different job or something like that, I feel that things are going to take off for you in the near future. You have the Seven of Wands. Seven of Wands, a card of conviction. I do feel this is something that Leo has been working on, is that belief in yourself, right? Seven of Wands says we have to know that we know, meaning we have to brainwash ourselves into believing that something can be successful for us, whatever it is, doesn't matter. And if you get to that point where you know that you know, then that's where success truly is or will come from. But you have to get to that point where you know that something is going to work. And, that's really what I would be paying attention to with the Seven of Wands is, developing those deep beliefs, really believing in yourself, really believing that you can accomplish great things. With the Eight of Swords, yes, you have the Magician. Very good time for manifestation, I would say. So, but I would say, sorry, I dropped it. I would say it's more of a good time for alignment. Making sure that you are getting into alignment with what you want. You can't say that you want money, but also be talking about how evil money is, for example, right? We have to be in perfect alignment with the Magician. Same thing with love. You can't ask for love, but then talk about how everybody cheats, right? Or you can't talk about how men or women ain't shit, right? You can't be talking about how everybody's toxic and all that other stuff. You have to tell the story that you want to live. And if you do that, then you'll get it. Plain and simple. With the Two of Pentacles, you have the Eight of Cups. Yeah, I mean, again, with the Devil, I definitely think you're just... And this is, by the way, this is the only card that has an eclipse on it right here. So, again, this card is about eclipsing something out of your life, letting go of something. Definitely feel that you are probably releasing something that no longer serves you, like everybody else, just walking away. The thing about the Eight of Cups is he is walking away from something that does provide him with something. These Eight Cups do provide him with something, but just he would be settling if he stayed in the situation. So the Eight of Cups really does encourage us not to settle for circumstances, whatever they may be. And, that could include, there's two ways to look at this, I think, sometimes. The first way is that if you're in a situation that is not working for you, you need to leave, right? You need to go find something else and not be afraid to do that. The other way to look at it is if you don't, again, like I said at the beginning of the reading, if you don't have something that you want, then you need to go on the journey to get it. But like the real journey, you can't just say, oh, I'm looking for love, and then be home every night sitting on the couch. You have to, put yourself out there, right? So I would do things to get what you want. With the Seven of Wands, you have the World. Yes, the World is an accomplishment, an achievement, you getting something you want. But again, I think the more you believe that you can have something that you want, the more likely it is that is true. Of course, Leo. I mean, that's always true, but whether people do it or not is another story. So I feel you really have to believe in yourself with this Seven of Wands. I do feel like there could be some movement or travel for you. I don't know. I feel this for fire signs in general, that like this year, I would say, and by this year, I mean until the end of, really until like the beginning of 2027, that fire signs, there is like just movement energy for fire signs in general. That could mean you're moving. It could mean you travel more over this time, or it could also mean that there's just a lot of movements going on in your life, like you're making moves, right? I feel all of that for fire signs. So it just seems, I've said this to other fire signs as well. Between now and like the beginning of 2027-ish, I feel a lot of movements going on for fire signs. And that doesn't mean it'll stop by 2027. It just means that you're just going to be making extra moves between now and then. Next, in the area of messages from your future self, you have this cleansing card, yes, and the strength card, yes. So you are definitely cleansing something with that devil and the 8 of cups, right? Like I said, pretty much everybody is. So this is very obvious energy to me, based off the astrology. And yeah, I mean, but at least it's good that it's showing up because, it pretty much means that you're doing it. You have the 6 of Pentacles, the Queen of Wands, and the 6 of Cups. 2 sixes in this row, which I love. 2 sixes kind of says you're going the right way, you're on the right path. It's like confirmation for your path. 6 of Pentacles is about giving to things that grow, which is if I were a Leo, that is the only thing I would pay attention to. I've probably said this to you before, but it's like the number one best thing for Leos to do, I believe, is that there are things that are going to grow. There are things that are going to not grow over the next many years for you. And I think the trick for you is to pay attention to growth. Pluto and Aquarius. Aquarius is your opposite sign, Leo. And I think that, it's encouraging innovation. But I think it's encouraging this. 6 of Pentacles says anything you try to do, make small investments, tiny little steps towards the goal. You can take multiple steps as well. Like you can take like 2 or 3 steps towards a goal. Pay attention what grows. Pay attention what doesn't. Move in the direction of growth. Pick the thing that works. And I know it sounds simple, but people don't do it. And if you do that, you will have a great time over the next like 20 freaking years. Well, really like 19 at this point with Pluto and Aquarius. You have the Queen of Wands. Yeah, I do feel it's time for Leos to be a little bit more bold and to step into the spotlight. It's time to be a Leo. Basically, it's time to, kind of like step into the light, get the attention, do the things to get the attention. It cracks me up every time I say this. People will say to me, Leos, of course Leos get attention. Leos are the center of attention. I come from a family of Leos, and I'm the one that became famous, basically, although I don't really consider myself famous, but it's like I'm the one that gets all the attention, right? I'm a Pisces, and I have 0 Leo in my chart. So, and none of my Leo family members do anything to get any attention. So, as a matter of fact, most of them resist it. So, I don't think it's true. I think Leo is here to learn how to get attention, right? And how to stand out and how to do the things to get that, right? And so, that's what I would do with the Queen of Wands. The thing about the Queen of Wands is that she would represent getting attention for being unique. She has this black cat right here. Black cats in the times of tarot were considered unlucky. The whole point of her black cat is she doesn't care. She just likes the black cat. That's it. And so I think that what you need to do is stand out for your own uniqueness, your own unique ideas, and, all that other stuff. It's, don't be afraid to be cringy here, Leo. It's like I once cried on camera. I did it it was a joke and everything, but, still, like, embrace the cringe is what I'm trying to say. You have the 6 of Cups. 6 of Cups is a turnaround. I'm trying to just see what else is going on here. Yeah, the 6 of Cups is good. 6 of Cups can be a gift from the universe. And sometimes I think the gift we receive from this card is a turnaround, like I just said, where, obstacles are basically being removed from our life or we're overcoming some obstacles. So, yeah, I feel pretty good about this. But I'm not really getting much here, Leo. That's it. I'm just getting, like, turnaround vibes. With the 6 of Pentacles, you have the 3 of Swords. You are fearing a heartbreak. I think I said this to you recently, Leo. I'm pretty sure. It popped into my head hard just now. That some of you, it's like you're fearing that something won't work out. And I said heartbreak, but this does not have to be love. It's going to be, different for all of you. But I feel you are fearing that if you invest in something, you're not going to get the return with that 6 of Pentacles. I'm pretty sure I said this to you in your last reading, And I really feel this is something that needs to be healed. Like you have to heal that part of yourself. I don't know. There's probably like a million different exercises you could do to like heal this part of you, or maybe you need to forgive the past, but definitely something to think about. With the Queen of Wands, you have the Eight of Wands. Yeah, Eight of Wands is quick success, quick conclusions, good things happening. I do feel if you kind of like march to the beat of your own drum at this time, that's where the quick successes will come from for you. So yeah, looks pretty good. With the Six of Cups, you have the Five of Wands. It's like I'm wondering if there's competition that you're dealing with as well here, Leo, with that Six of Cups. Now, this could be in love for some of you, although there's like a little bit of love here. I wouldn't really call it a love reading, though. I think love is always available to us, right? Just plain and simple. But, again, there could be competition for love for some of you or something else that you want. The Five of Wands and the Queen of Wands says, here's the thing, though. I know what the answer is setting yourself apart, embracing your unique approach, which maybe you feel like you have to follow rules or do things the way other people do them. And I feel if you are dealing with competition, you just have to like set yourself apart. You can easily set yourself apart, but you have to do it. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have this round around card and this leg up card. Yes, I think that some of you could be getting a little bit of a boost at this time, which is nice. This reading itself does, with that Six of Cups, Eight of Wands, you do have several cards that could represent a gift from the universe. So there could be like a little bit of a boost here. If you've been ruminating on something or going over and over and over and over and over and over on something, and yes, I felt the need to say it that many times, then I feel it's time to like get your answers. You have the Four Wands, Nine of Swords, and the King of Cups. Four Wands can be marriage, and obviously there's love here, so, it could be a King of Cups type person that you're attracting. I feel like you need to get out of your head, though. Nine of Swords. Too much, you're like round, type of energy is what I get on that Nine of Swords. Overthinking, ruminating, making something much more difficult than it needs to be. I'm not calling you out. I'm a Pisces. I literally, this is my life, right? This is what I do every single day. I just come up with ideas. I overthink them, then I never do them, then I'm disappointed, right? So, don't do that. And, I think you need to set yourself free. The good news is that the Nine of Swords is coming up in the good stuff, right? So Nine of Swords is the round around type energy here, but the Nine of Swords kind of says you have to set yourself free from that rumination energy, and that's exactly what I would do with the Nine of Swords, like set yourself free. I would get out of bed, basically, with this Nine of Swords energy and, take control of your life. And, I think that's what you could be doing with this card is, like, taking more control or something like that, which would be a good idea. But, again, I think this is about kind of getting answers. You have the King of Cups. I do feel for some of you this could be a person. Doesn't have to be a water sign. Could be any sign. I mean, sure, could be a water sign. Every Leo in my life is what I wanted to say is dating a Pisces right now. My brother is leaving tomorrow. He's moving out, right? I'm finally kicking his ass out of the nest, and I'm gonna shed a little bit of a tear. And he's moving in with a Pisces. He's been living with a Pisces for 36 years. Why? Why would you want to do that to yourself, right? But anyway, so there you go. Could be a water sign, could be any sign, just in general, whatever, doesn't matter. Find a good person. That's all I care about, right? With the Four Wands, you have the Six of Swords. Improvements. I think you're committing to the right things. Six of Pentacles wants us to commit to the right things. Here, Four Wands is just a card of commitment. Doesn't have to be marriage. Could just say that you're committing. You're committing to the right things in life, and you're moving forward. With the Nine of Swords, you have the Eight of Pentacles. Yeah, it's like about taking the steps, right? Nine of Swords is round around energy, which we have right here. Round, right? And the Nine of Swords, that round and round card would be the Nine of Swords in the tarot. So, I think that the Eight of Pentacles is about just choosing to focus on one thing. Sometimes that's what we need to do. We just, instead of going round and round and round, we just have to get started on something and see where it goes. And, that's what I would do here. With the King of Cups, yeah, you have the Ten of Pentacles. Everybody's been getting the Ten of Pentacles. One thing I will say is I think everybody should prepare for Uranus retrograding back into Taurus in November, which will be November 7th. So you have time. Don't rush. And again, we're not preparing for a bad thing. This is good. I think we're all getting one more chance to create true freedom in our lives. Uranus and Taurus wants us to build and leave a legacy, whatever that means for you. And if you do that, you will create more freedom in your life. And yeah, there's really not much else to say, because if you do that, you will be happy. Plain and simple here, Leo. But let's see what is going on for you. You have this bold card, says, do not back down from opposition, show strength and fortitude. Five of Wands. Yes, I think you need to be bold, assertive, face the competition, anything that you feel is getting in your way. I feel like you need to face it. You have this moon card that says changes in your life. You know what's really crazy, Leo, is it always blows my mind. Like all these oracle cards and everything, they all have a card basically that says something similar. And pretty much everyone except for a couple people I can think of have had a card that basically says this, that we are, changes. Now we do have 2 eclipses this month. Eclipses, of course, lead to great change, so whatever, doesn't really surprise me. You have this dagger card. It says fears, worries, tense situation. Yeah, I've said this to you before. Based off your astrology, last year we had Mars retrograde in Leo into this year, right? It retrograded, then it went direct this year. Then we just had the Mercury retrograde in Leo. Next year, Jupiter will go retrograde, pretty close to the same place, in Leo. It's a very short retrograde, though. I'm pretty sure that the Jupiter retrograde in Leo, it's going to retrograde back into Cancer pretty quickly, in cosmic terms. But what I would say is that you have to remember it's extremely rare for this to happen, for multiple planets over a period of time to go retrograde almost in exactly the same spot, right? So Mercury probably called back that Mars retrograde energy. Jupiter might expand something that happened during that Mars retrograde. Mars retrograde is notorious for backstabbing energy, you know what I'm saying? So I actually feel pretty good about it. Like you could be clearing, if you have been stabbed in the back, you could be clearing it up or getting, there could be some sort of conclusion to that. You have this dogs card. It says getting together with friends. I encourage everyone to do this right now. We are in a very social time. And people always say to me, Chris, I don't feel like socializing at all. I'm like, exactly. That's why it is a very social time. Because we probably don't want to do it. But the universe is like, no, you have to balance the energy in the other direction. You have this broken bridge that says unsuccessful outcome to a problem. I feel like some of you need to stop trying to fix things, really, like stop being a fixer. I'm not saying this is a bad thing. What I feel for Leo is that Leo has to put themselves first, And so if there are things that other people should be doing on their own, let them, right? Plain and simple. But yeah, I like this for you, Leo. Looks really good. So thank you for being here and definitely enjoy your week.